Today is Thursday, April 9th, 2020. I traveled to New York City, where it is now the epicenter for the novel coronavirus called COVID-19. When I initially entered New York City, I saw that the streets were all empty and could immediately see the hefty toll that the virus has taken on New York City. I first traveled to Chinatown, where it is usually one of the most populous parts of New York. However, when I arrived in Chinatown, the streets were devoid of people and silent, with the howling wind being the only sound you can hear. Next, I traveled to the Wall Street area of New York City, where the situation was no different. Something that shocked me was that I even saw an ambulance outside one of the buildings, waiting to transport a patient to a hospital. In my memories, Wall Street was always bustling with numerous stockbrokers, businessmen, and investment bankers walking around. In stark contrast, Wall Street was lifeless and only had a few people milling around. This illustrates how the virus has halted almost all aspects of life in New York City and has transformed it into something I can't recognize anymore. For the few people that were still outside, I sensed a change in them as well. They have transformed from the vigorous and energetic people that I've constantly seen in New York to people filled with fear and apprehension, which is extremely out of character for New Yorkers. The World Trade Center area and the 9/11 Memorial had even less people and lacked its usual vigor. The memorial usually had an abundance of tourists milling around. Even the subways were empty, which is something I have never seen before. Months prior, the subways were always jam-packed with people, and rush hour was always a pain for all commuters. Central Park was even more of a shock to me. There were temporary hospitals in place right next to the hospital Mount Sinai, with doctors and ambulances everywhere. The fact that the New York State had demanded that temporary hospitals be built in public parks emphasizes just how serious and severe the situation is. Fifth Avenue is known for its high-end stores ranging from Gucci to Louis Vuitton, but sadly in this time of crisis, every single one of those stores is closed. Rockefeller Center was the same scenario, with not a single soul present. The lack of people at the center just illustrates how the virus dramatically influenced and changed the lives of 8.6 million people. Another huge tourist attraction of the Big Apple was Times Square, and it had even less people than Rockefeller Center. The lack of tourists and New Yorkers at such an iconic place is never seen before. In addition, COVID-19 has forced numerous stores in New York City, ranging from dessert shops and restaurants to tech giants such as Apple, to close their doors. But there is hope. I plead to everyone to play their part in flattening the curve so that the virus does not overwhelm our medical systems. Please stay indoors and avoid non-essential travel and continue social distancing. This will help out countless medical staff members and doctors that are risking their lives every day in their fight against the virus. It is proven by medical professionals such as Dr. Fauci that social distancing is effective in flattening the curve. We are all in this together. and we must unite to stop the pandemic.